Hello creators, I'm Bucky Dirtle, welcome back. I'm going to be doing a video tutorial today on the software synthesizer Helm. Specifically, I'm going to be doing it on the step sequencer. Now, this step sequencer is very simple the way it works, but it gives us a lot of really cool little things to do. I'm going to demonstrate how it works, and then I'm going to tell you how you can actually make it work yourself. So let me just demonstrate it first. I'm going to put some steps in here, like that. Like that. There we go. That's good. Now, I'm going to assign it. You guys, if you've seen other tutorials, you'll know that I'm assigning this to something, but I'll show you how to do that in a second. So you can see I'm holding down one key, I'm holding down middle C, and that is changing rhythmically too. Okay, now, you've seen what I can do with it. Now let me show you how I did it. First of all, this step sequencer that we see right now has 8 steps. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can do more, I can do less. I can go right on down to 1 step and then go right up to 32 steps. I'm going to put it at 16 because it gives us a nice bit of variation. So now 16 steps. Now you draw your steps in with your mouse, as I'm doing here now. Draw them in. You can draw them in one at a time, or you can slide your mouse around. I'm going to move these around different rates, different amounts, just to kind of give us some variation. And of course, you can choose those based on whatever you want to choose. It's like intervals. Sorry, it's like a gradient of like negative 1 will be all the way down, positive 1 will be all the way up to the top. So you can, if you want to do it mathematically or musically, you can do that. I'm just going to choose them by random. Now I've got 16 steps. I've randomly chosen what I want each step to be. Now, how do we control something? Step sequencer here is a controller. So what we need to do is we click our little helmet right here on the step sequencer. Now, if you've watched other tutorials that I've done about Helm, you'll know that controllers in here, this is how you do it. This is how you control other components of Helm. You click on the helmet first, and then it gives you green all over the screen. Anything that's green is fair game for this controller to control. So I'm going to go to our tune right here on the oscillator 1. And I've chosen that. Now, you notice down here my mixer, I've turned oscillator 2 down. So only thing I'm hearing is oscillator 1. That's just to keep things simple. I don't want 2 oscillators running right now, just 1. So now you can see tune is being changed step by step by the step sequencer. So if I push a note, it's choosing different notes based on what I have in here in the step sequencer. Okay, piece of cake. You can control all kinds of different things in here, but I just chose to control that. But you can control any aspect of Helm that shows up green when you click the little helmet. You can have the step sequencer control it. Now let's have a look at a couple other little things. I want to go over here to slide. Right now, when the step sequencer goes from one selection, one step to the next, it goes here abruptly, and you can hear it in the notes. They just go abruptly to the next note. There's no portamento between the two. And remember, we did a tutorial on portamento. You can check and see how to work that. Slide is the portamento that's built into the step sequencer. So if I turn up slide a little bit, you can even see up on the little tune right here on the top left, you can see it's no longer abruptly moving between the settings. It's kind of sliding between the two, between all of them. Let's have a listen to it. See, so now it's moving between every note with a nice kind of smoothness. Now, if you turn slide all the way up to the top, it just kind of like it's so slow to slide that it hardly moves. So you can find where you want slide to be to get the best effect for you. But the further you move slide to the right, the slower the slide will be. Okay? Nothing to it. Now, let's have a look at this. We got our frequency in the middle here. Now, our frequency works the same as a lot of the other controllers in here, such as our arpeggiator, our stutter, our delay. It works on the internal clock for Helm. Now, the internal clock for Helm is the beats per minute up here at the top, and we have a tutorial here on beats per minute as well, so you can check that out. But depending on what you put as your beats per minute is going to ultimately define what our frequency is going to be down here. I can choose quarter note, half note, eighth note, whatever I want it to be, and metrically, musically metrically, it will find that speed based on what the beats per minute is set at. So if I put it as 8 notes or 16 notes, say, and I play a note, now that slide is so slidey now. It's so now you can hear it's moving around like crazy. Let's change the oscillator to like a triangle. Be a little easier to hear those pitches. Okay, so that's the 16th note. If I go down to quarter or half, so you can see it does it like rhythmically, metrically. So, and you've seen that in other tutorials. You can also choose by seconds. So if you want to break it down by millisecond, you can do that. On the left-hand side of frequency right here, we have a couple of things. The main thing I want to show you are the first two. Free just means that the step sequencer, where it is in the steps, will just continuously play. So if I hit a note and the step sequencer is on step 6, it'll just go to step 7, 8, 9, 10 like that. So if it's on step 4 and I hit it, it'll go to step 5, step 6. It'll just continue on in its pattern wherever it is. If I put it as re-trigger, every time I hit it, it'll start from 1. You see that? So now it's around, see, it goes back to 1. Every time I hit it, it resets to 1. Okay, you see the same thing. There's other LFOs do the same thing. You can see them over here on the side. There's the same type of deal. Okay, so basically that's it. I'm not going to get into playhead on this one today. Now, which is another setting here. So that's basically step sequencer. Now, if you take a step sequencer and you start applying it to different components of Helm, like the distortion, or like the formant, or stutter, or the mixer, or whatever, you will find all kinds of unique ways that you can create sounds using step sequencer. It's a very powerful tool. And in analog synthesis, like if you're talking about modular synthesis, like Eurorack and things like that, the step sequencer is absolutely critical piece to sound creation. So knowing how to use your step sequencer and knowing what you can do with your step sequencer is very, very, very important part of learning how to use this software. I think the step sequencer is kind of like a hammer. It's kind of like a hammer where you can give somebody a hammer and say, well, here it is. What can you do with a hammer? Well, you can do a million things with a hammer. Well, you can do a million things with step sequencer. It doesn't do anything on its own, but you have to, like a hammer. Hammer doesn't do anything on its own, but it has to be used to do other things. So it's the same with this. Step sequencer is a really great tool to have in your toolbox. So thank you for watching. This has been a step sequencer. If you like this tutorial and you like Helm, please go to the developer's website, Mitel, and show your support. This is an open source application, so anybody can use it, but we need to support the people who are developing these applications. So make sure you go to the developer's website, which is in my post, and you can show your support for the developer. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.